I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and welcome to Equal Entertainment. Beyoncé is showing support for fellow pop star Taylor Swift at the launch of her Eras Tour movie. Swift and Queen Bee posed for a picture on the red carpet. Swift credits Beyoncé with influencing her career. She says Beyoncé taught her how to break the rules and defy norms. Adam Sandler, Maren Morris, and Julia Garner also attended the event. The Eras Tour movie's presale numbers are outpacing Barbie and Spider-Man: No Way Home. Beyoncé's concert film will premiere later this year. Negotiations between Hollywood studios and actors are now on hold. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers says the gap between it and SAG-AFTRA is too great. The studios say the union is asking for a viewership bonus that would cost more than $800 million per year. The union is accusing the studios of failing to deliver sufficient wage increases. The union says the companies are putting out misleading information to try to fool actors into abandoning the strike. Actors have been on strike since July 14th. Despite the strike, a remake of the 1980s classic The Color Purple will hit theaters in December. The New York Film Festival has been showcasing films and creatives for more than 61 years now, and putting together a program is no easy task. But NYFF's Dennis Lim is proud of this year's lineup, even as the Hollywood strike continues. When you are creating a program for a film festival, you're choosing films, feature-length, documentary, shorts, and then also Q&As. What are you looking for the entire, because you have to look at it as a holistic event?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think with a slightly complicated answer. I think we go into the process not looking for anything, but trying to keep an open mind. Just being open to anything is a very important part of the curatorial process. But I think as the lineup comes together, we do think about questions of balance and cohesion, and what you might take away from the grouping of films as a whole. How balanced is it? Different types of films represented, different regions represented, different points of view represented. So it's sort of a little bit of a process that evolves, but we don't look for anything in particular. I think the New York Film Festival had a very clear identity from its origins in 1963. It's always been a festival that considers the year in cinema and tries to summarize it, tries to make a case for cinema as an important art form, and selects films that will put forth this argument that cinema matters.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I appreciate that. And we are at a really interesting juncture in terms of cinema. And, we've got streamers that have come in, and of course, the writer strikes and SAG-AFTRA on strike. This is an interesting time for the industry at large. And would you talk a little bit about how the news of the day kind of has or has not played into some of the decisions that you made?
Sure. Well, the strike, I can say, did not factor into decision-making at all, because, we decide based on the films in front of us, not necessarily who's going to be able to show up to support them. Yeah. And in terms of timing, we finalized our program in July, and, the Writers Guild, they were already on strike. The actors' strike was called the week we were finalizing the program. We didn't really make any significant changes in response to that. Obviously, on the ground, it's looked a little bit different. The red carpets we don't have quite as many as we do in a normal year. And there are obviously no actors on them, except in the cases of films that have secured interim agreements. But we think that at film festivals, and certainly at this film festival, what really matters is the movies. Yeah. It's the filmmakers, and they've been showing up, and I think the most important thing for us is not the red carpet that leads into the cinema. It's what happens in cinema. Nahnatchka
Khan is one of my favorite creatives in Hollywood right now. Her latest film, Totally Killer, is out now on Prime Video, just in time for spooky season. I spoke with the queer creator Khan about what horror films still make her skin crawl. I want to say congratulations on Totally Killer. What a fun horror movie. And would you talk a little bit about the process of directing a horror film because, it's so genre specific and very self-reflexive, which of course you have in this film.
Yeah, I think it was a real fun challenge for me. I'd only worked in the comedy space before this, so bringing that into this movie, as you say, it's like a mashup, like it's horror comedy, but then like the horror elements feel almost like an extension of comedy in a way because there is a lot of build up to those scenes and a lot of sort of anticipation and payoff that you also find in comedy.
Your favorite horror films?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Scream, I think is my number. The whole franchise is amazing, but the original Scream just sort of changed the game, and that's a big touch point for this movie. I love the Conjuring universe. I think the first two Conjurings are incredible, but then also like all the offshoots, like Annabelle Comes Home. I don't know if you saw that one, but
I have not seen that. Okay.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And then the class, the original Halloween, the original Friday the 13th. I mean, just like that was, such a fun element for us to play with because it's just like, when you look back at some of the movies and shows and things from that era, things that, living through it, like we just took for as like, okay, like that's how it is. We didn't really question it. And now looking back, you're like, ugh, like some of that stuff, you can't really say that anymore. Like that doesn't quite hold up. And so really being able to poke fun at that, having that person again from present day, going back and being like, you really can't say that. You can't call her that. Like women should support women. And then her told like, fuck off and die. It's like, nobody cares about that stuff. Like it's like kill or be killed kind of thing. It was kind of fun.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, I guess it's very part and parcel of an 80s slasher or a 70s slasher, but this very kind of free sexuality, like women actually have sexual agency in this film, but of course traditionally are killed for it in slasher films. But here, not so much. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, like that was also, I think in those slasher movies, I don't know, maybe because it's not quite been, well, it hasn't had the comedy angle, but maybe it hasn't been like embedded enough with the young women in that movie. But I just thought it would be funny to talk about sex from their point of view. And like, I feel like an unspoken thing that at least a lot of my friends of the time were talking about was like, nobody likes giving blowjobs. So I think like
so funny.
I mean, and then you see like women audiences, not just women, like reacting to that. It's just like an unspoken thing that now gets spoken as a runner in this movie. And it was just fun for us to kind of like get into the sexuality of it in a way that you maybe hadn't seen.
You can watch The Advocate channel live by downloading our app on the Apple or Google Play Store. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. For The Advocate channel, I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and thank you for watching.